Hey everyone, I'm Tammy Davis. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you're new to my channel, I'm an internationally certified master clinical phytotherapist with a background in pharmacology, aromatherapy, and the continued study of plant constituents and their mechanism of action on the human genome as it relates to drug development. That's kind of me in a nutshell. I've been doing this for about 30 years. Doing the combination of all of them, and primarily only the phytotherapy, specifically for the last 20 plus years. But like I said, I actually do continue, my area of study continues to be plants to constituents in drug development, because it's very important for me to understand what plants are studying, why they're studying them, and how they're being applied in the human body, and like I said, the mechanism of action, actually how they work. So that actually is part of the reason why I'm even talking about today, which is male enhancement. And if you are a woman watching this, and you have a guy in your life, you might want to stick around and listen to this, because this is actually a very important thing, topic, subject. So, at any rate, what I'm getting at is I have somebody that I've been working with who has, and a lot of this has to do with age, and I think I may end up doing a podcast on this as well, because we have this concept of aging, that our health is supposed to decline. I mean, we're actually bearing children and grooming them to be, preparing them to be sick. And for something I've said for years now, decades, is that nobody has to be a statistic. And even though we realize that health conditions can run in a family, there are ways to actually prevent that from repeating itself. But on a what I perceive to be an even bigger challenge these days is if somebody doesn't have a specific diagnosis but is walking around with symptoms of such, discomforts, I'll put it that way. This is the reason why we have so many people that are struggling with undiagnosed health conditions. I mean, I realize I just repeated myself, but I'm just thinking about, autoimmune, what looks to be like autoimmune conditions, but there's they can't firmly identify what's going on with the individual. So the individual kind of walks around in limbo, not really knowing what's wrong with them, but they have all these different symptoms, whether it's insomnia, whether it's pain, mental fog, attention issues, inflammation, rashes, you name it. But the clinician or the professional can't necessarily figure out why this is happening or what's actually going on. I can't tell you how many clients I have in that situation currently. And this particular individual is no different. And I started working with him. He is in his mid-50s, and he presents with, he's got vascularity in his legs. So that to me is already cardiovascular. I did take a family history. There is a history of cardiovascular issues in the family. He also has some respiratory issues, not significant. Again, it's not necessarily diagnosable where somebody's going to go, oh, you have asthma, or you have COPD, or it's just like there's just a respiratory issue that he always feels like he's got something in his lungs to cough out, and so there's obviously congestion and inflammation going on in the lungs. He's done an exceptional job throughout his entire life of remaining as healthy as possible. He doesn't take any medications. He's been involved heavily in exercise and working out and so forth. So he's done what he's been known to do to maintain good health. But like I said, his father, who's now 80, has a number of health conditions that were diagnosed, COPD being one of them. He's had strokes. and I believe there's been some other heart issues. The point is, and then so we have those two factors going on, okay? And to top it all off, he was concerned about his testosterone. But he wanted to do this naturally. He really wanted to get, because again, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier, is we are raising our children to essentially believe that this is going to happen. And truthfully, if we pay attention to the collective story, if you talk about amongst the men, I mean, I even heard a commercial the other day on the radio that talked about erectile dysfunction and how every man has this problem at some point, and they go on and list all the different reasons why. So this is no longer age related, although it was more of a problem with older men than it was in the past with younger men. So it seems to me that there's more, again, it's no longer age related, but yet we still have this belief system that testosterone levels naturally decrease when as men get older. And while there is some validity to that, I'm not saying that that's not true, that this isn't what happens. If you're not familiar with me, pay attention. And I mean that with all kindness. It's and if you are familiar with me, you know where I'm going with this. But the fact is, it doesn't have to be the way it is for men. I'm really sincere about that. And what I mean for that reason is, what I mean by that basically is that to kind of sum up what my work is about, is working with the body. It's a synergistic relationship throughout nature. Okay, it's actually working with our nature. It's working with nature. So when I talk about working with nature, I'm not just talking about plants. I'm also referring to our own nature, actually following the science. And I'm kind of getting off on this. To kind of reel it back in, low testosterone is a natural occurrence, absolutely. But I'm saying it doesn't have to be. And the reason I'm saying that, and the reason why it is something that we experience, and it has become a norm, so to speak, but the reason I also find a problem that the fact that younger men are having the same issue, and we can relate it to other circumstances that would bring it on, I come back to the stress response. This is what I've been talking about now for almost 2 years, consistently, because I did set out a while back to actually get to the root cause. And I realized there's a lot of people talking about the root cause of health conditions, and but we're not actually addressing the root cause. When we take antioxidants, we are actually helping to relieve the inflammation, but we're not getting to the root cause of the inflammation. And, you know, we can pinpoint and we can try to blame all these different things, yet the fact is what's actually happening, whether it be mental, emotional, environmental, or physical, the body is chronically stressed. And I realize there's a lot of people out there doing everything that they can to relieve the stress in their system. Again, a gentleman who exercises, that's part of what he's doing, right? So physical and, or I should say mental, and emotional stress are huge. And again, we have a huge population of people that are in fact doing everything they can to relieve that aspect of their stress, but that's not enough. The other component to our stress response is environmental, and that's something we have no impact, we have no influence on in the immediate future. And even though we can be activists and by all rights, we're not going to see an immediate change. And even when we do, we're going to see a huge detox process that's going to occur. So that said, we can't do anything about the environment in the next couple of days. So we have to actually work within our bodies to relieve the stress response. And I also refer to the stress response as being on in chronic survival mode, or being consistently on high alert. That's another way that I refer to it. And when we are in chronic survival mode, we don't suffer from hormonal imbalances like we are currently talking about. It's in my realm, it's not a hormonal imbalance. It's basically an alteration in our chemistry. That's not again, it's not an imbalance. It's actually a balance. I talked about this in a recent podcast that I did on what the heck are genetic adaptations. And the fact is, balance is relative. If you are walking on unsteady ground, you don't just collapse and fall down. The body does what it needs to do to make the necessary adjustments in order to keep you upright as best as it can, given our clumsiness, right? But again, this is what genetic adaptations are. They're not defects. It's not a dysfunction. It's not an imbalance. It's simply an adjustment that nature has made within you to accommodate your needs in response to the environment. But yet, again, we have no control over this environment. So essentially what I'm saying is each one of us is walking around with a body that's on high alert. We are in chronic survival mode. And again, the chemistry has been altered for the sake of our survival. Now, the way our mind typically goes, again, we talk about hormonal imbalance. And so we'll look at something like low T, or we'll look at something and go, well, you have estrogen dominance. Estrogen dominance doesn't really mean that you have too much estrogen. It means that you're not making it, it's not being converted, and you're not making enough progesterone. Estrogen is also in men, and it has to be converted into testosterone. However, estrogen, we are exposed to too much estrogen through our diet. There's a lot of phytoestrogens and the chemicals in our environment. The phytoestrogens and the xenoestrogens both act like estrogen in the body, although it's undetectable on a blood test, which means now you have a higher level of estrogen activity that is going to now influence a stress response, because that's part of the role of estrogen. It eventually activates our autonomic nervous system. So in the case of a man who's got low T, what you have is high levels of estrogen, whether he's producing it due to mental and emotional stress, or through the environment, and my guess is it's going to be a combination of all of that. Estrogen actually activates, the other thing it does is that it actually is responsible for activating certain, again, signaling, I'll say it that way. It signals to the nitric oxide synthase complex to take on certain activities. That certain activities happen to be oxidative stress. This is one of the things that estrogen does. It's a signal. It's a signaling molecule. And when it's signaling to the nitric oxide synthase to produce this oxidative stress, you're not going to produce the neurotransmitters for mental clarity. You're going to have I shouldn't say you're not going to produce them. You are producing them, but they're being used for other reasons, because keep in mind, everything that the brain produces, every chemical messenger, and I realize they're also produced in the adrenals, and they're produced in, various other parts of the body, but this hormonal system is producing chemicals that are responsible not just for mood and emotions, it's also responsible for every function in the body, because even our neurotransmitters are also used as hormones throughout the system. So it's a very complex, interwoven, amazing system that is working actually in our favor. And so we may look at the decline of health and degenerative disease and low T as a normal process, that this is just happens with aging. And what I'm saying is it doesn't have to be happening, at least at the rate that it is happening. And if we could get a hold of helping to reset some of the system through the use of essential oils, you actually might benefit. No, I'm going to rewind that. You will benefit, but you have to know what you're doing. And I mean that with all sincerity. I'm not trying to be some stick in the mud and be hard on the way we currently are using essential oils. They do, when used very specifically, can make a huge difference on the cellular stress that's occurring and helping to signal improved activity, a relief, so to speak. So like I said, when we are in chronic survival mode, our chemistry is altered. and for the sake of the survival of the organism. That is all the stress response is. It's a protection mechanism. We need to be excited by the fact that our bodies are actually working in our favor. And if you want to argue that point, I'm just going to look at you and say, well, if you're watching this or you're talking with me, you are alive. Regardless of how uncomfortable it is to be in your body has obviously kept you alive. It's actually helped you survive to this point. Now the question is, how much do you want to keep doing to force something to happen, or would you prefer to align with your nature and actually improve your situation? Because as I'm sure I don't have to say too much on the area of force, but when we try to force things, it's not really a pretty picture. So that said, back to the male T, or the low T and male enhancement thing, right? So anyway, this guy started working with me. I started giving him some blends that and making nutritional suggestions and so forth, and he was doing pretty well. I mean, for his age, he was actually getting to actually build more muscle tissue. He was seeing a reduction in fat. I mean, he was seeing some changes. Of course, it's slow because we're talking 50 plus years on the planet of, constant stress, chronic survival mode thing. So he'd been living with alterations his entire life. And, but again, this nitric oxide synthase thing is very, very important because it is also, when it's producing oxidative stress, it's involved with, it is the reason why we have cardiovascular issues. It is the reason why we have a lot of respiratory issues. It also is the reason why we have a lot of digestive issues, such as acid reflux, colitis, ulcerative colitis, and so forth. So that nitric oxide synthase complex is an extraordinarily important complex. Well, they all are, truthfully, but it's significant in this regard when we're talking about such hormonal changes that are occurring in every single one of us. So again, I've already stated that when he first started with me, it was real clear: cardiovascular, it's in this family history, respiratory, and again, I realize nobody has to be a statistic, but you have to keep in mind that our systems are kind of preset from the moment we're conceived, and then there's changes that occur. But there's a lot of reasons why we often, because we're just preset, we're kind of predisposed for that, but we can change it. I have to say that I feel like I'm living proof of that at this point. Nonetheless, he already presented with cardiovascular, respiratory, and now he's got low T. So he was doing fine. And then about 6 months ago, some of the vascularity, he started experiencing pain and discomfort and what was I going to say? Sorry, in his ankle and his foot, and then it looked like the tissue itself was breaking down. Now, he has been a heavy weightlifter, and he's done heavy, seriously heavy, lifting a lot of weight, including with his legs. So to me, there was not a surprise that this was actually breaking down, because if you think about it, when you're working out, you are signaling the immune system to work, is how I want to say it. So that's going to be hormonal and immune system there, because when you work out, you're breaking tissue down and it has to be repaired. So there's an immune reaction that occurs as well as a hormonal reaction. So we're talking growth hormone, we're talking, a lot of these things here. So it made somewhat kind of some sense. So we started working with oils, and he was doing pretty good, but it never seemed to clear up. And then I kept, and like I was talking about in my last video, I kept suggesting he stop and give him some other ideas and give his body a chance to catch up and, kind of relax, because there just was a lot, in my mind, there was a lot going on, years like this. And so we're just seeing an undoing. And I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, there was a lot of discouragement on my part, because I felt like, I've never seen what appeared to be such failure. And then I mean, again, this has been going on for a long time. Like I said, it's been at least 6 months. And then he informs me that, well, I've managed to locate this. This right here, I am not advocating for this. In fact, I'm not advocating for any male enhancement, whether it's herbal or not. If you want to use it and you're getting your satisfaction, good for you. So this is not a commercial for this product. I'm just showing this product because this happens to be what he was taking. He was also taking some of the other ones called Rhino. But this is, but if you look at the label, it all looks good. Here's another one. This is empty. It's not the same company. It's actually different. The ingredients are different. So anyway, they do have some funny names. If I sat here and read them to you, I would probably laugh the entire video. But the point I'm getting at, like I said, I mean, and these ingredients are too tiny to actually see. But if you look at this, I mean, this one here actually, for the most part, it's just vitamins, and it includes maca, and it has yohimba in it, and as this actually has yohimba in it too. But so the point of this is, if you stop using the oils, the soreness on his ankle would actually finally clear up, and then we'd go back to using them again. So he'd start using them again. So, and then it would kick up again. And so finally he pointed out that he was taking these things. And he did it, and it's understandable because it looks like it's natural. According to what I found just today before recording this video, these are not natural. Not this particular brand. It's hard to say. I don't know if they're not all the same company. And I'm actually putting the link in the description box here. But there's at least 2 pages of these what seem to be natural male enhancement supplements that have been discovered to have some form of drug ingredient. And when I was looking through some of them, they're the same ingredients that would be found in Cialis or Viagra. Now, the thing is that it's not listed on the labels. That's the problem. And like I said, this guy was also taking Rhino products, and those are all on that list, every single one of them. I mean, like I said, there's 2 pages, and the Rhino products he was taking are listed on there, and they are all have been through their tests, have proven to have some form of drug in it. And the reason that's a problem, well, first of all, this says it's a natural, herbal supplement when it's not. It's got drugs. And again, I don't want to say that this one is not natural. It very well could be. I'll get to what my concerns are with this one in a minute. But let me just go on my tangent right now about these natural male enhancements. They're not natural. Like I said, take a look at that link and see, because the potential for danger is high. So on that note, and the reason for that is just because, especially if you're taking medications, there could be interactions. Especially if you have things like if you have heart issues, diabetes and so forth. I mean, they're supposed to be it's serious. So go on there and check it out and make sure, because again, a lot of these natural male enhancements are becoming extraordinarily popular, and that is the reason why I wanted to do this video, because regardless if you're taking medications or you're using oils, remember what I said at the beginning of the video. I study plant constituents as they and their mechanism of action on the human genome as they are used for drug development. That's huge, okay? That is a big deal. So the point is that plant constituents are used in the development of medications. And there's a lot of interactions that can occur, and there's interactions that can occur between natural stuff. What I will tell you is yohimba is counterintuitive. It's contraindicated with a number of medications. I've seen it countless times when I go in and I start to look at the drug interactions, and we're talking hundreds of them. Yohimba is a big one. It's not recommended for a lot of medications because it is working directly on the hormonal system, and all of our medications, whether you want to believe it or not, are affecting every single one of our well, I shouldn't say it that way, but their target is at least one neurotransmitter or hormonal receptor, if not more. Okay, so there is a very specific target, and it is a chemical messenger that we are supposed to be producing. So there's going to be good reason why Yohimba would be contraindicated with a lot of these medications. So even if this product here doesn't have a drug in it, and mind you, the FDA does go on there and say that they haven't been able to test all the products on the market. But if it doesn't have a drug in it, it's got Yohimba in it. And this gentleman has been using essential oils, and the essential oils that I was using are very influential on the hormonal system. Not a specific hormone per se. I'm not trying to increase his testosterone levels directly, but I am wanting to help create balance within the hormonal system, nutritionally as well as with the oils. But there's some pretty strong ones in here. And so if any one of those plant constituents in the oil could very well be interacting with Yohimba, or vice versa, like I said. So this doesn't necessarily mean I'm saying that this has a drug in it. What I'm saying is either the Yohimba is doing it, or it does have a drug. But regardless, combining these things with oils is not advisable, especially if there's a cardiovascular issue in the event of a cardiovascular issue. That is my point to all of this. Now, so what we're doing now is he's going to stop taking these. He's going to actually stop using the oils, and he's going to allow his body to kind of come back, kind of flush everything out. And then we're going to start again. It was pretty serious. I mean, because what ended up happening with him, and the reason why this came to my attention, was because he was using oils directly on his one ankle, on the left ankle. And then there was won't say a rash, because he's not using it on his leg, he's using it on his ankle, but all of a sudden the skin started becoming inflamed, and it looked like he's trying to detox through the skin. Well, that may seem like something's happening, and it's possible. My hair just looks terrible. It's possible, but the other challenge was it started happening on his other leg. So it is systemic. And that's when I started asking more questions like, what else are you doing? Because if there's something else that you're doing that I don't know about, we have got to make some decisions about what to do next. And this is what I found out. So, yeah, I guess all I'm trying to say is it's time to use caution with anything that we're mixing, and understand that the older we are, I'm sorry, I just noticed my hair is just look funny. The older we are, our chemistry has been altered for so long as a result of environmental factors. And it's going to take some alignment with our nature. It's going to take some understanding of what's actually going on with us in order to accommodate its needs and begin to help undo what's been done in order to reset the system. Children are far more responsive to using the oils, but when we get to but again, I don't want to if we can start teaching our children how to do this kind of work, working with their nature, really improving their health, the way they approach their health, now they don't have to be facing a lot of the health issues that many of us do. And I don't believe that low T should be an issue for anybody. And when you think about the number of young men that claim to have erectile issues, that screams hormonal challenges. And why are we having hormonal challenges? And it goes back to the environmental factors that are signaling stress to the body. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Tammy@synergessence.com. You're welcome to join me again on my Facebook group. The link is in the description box below. It's a closed group, Synergessence. I'd be happy to add you because I really believe that the oils do have a benefit, but we do need to be talking about what all we're doing. And we have to remember that just because something says it's natural, number one, doesn't mean it is natural. And number two, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work with other natural things. So we have to be mindful of what we're doing and why we're doing it, And again, I would love to hear from you and answer any questions you have. I also have a podcast. I'll put that link here in the description box as well. That is where you can just kind of submit just general questions about health. And also on my website, synergessence.com, where I have a blog where we can get a little bit more personal, and I can, kind of share with you more specifically about you. It is password protected just for the sake of privacy. And so that's about it. Oh, I wanted to say in the video that I just uploaded, I mentioned a little girl who had burning sensations because of her hypersensitivity. And fortunately, we were able to overcome that within just a couple of days. So we made some changes to the way we were using the oil, and she acclimated beautifully. So anyway, I look forward to hearing from you. I do appreciate you watching. If you're new to my channel, thank you for visiting. Like, subscribe, and share. If you don't like it, that's okay too. Please let me know why and what else I can do for you. Stay tuned for my next video, which is actually going to be on another full disclosure on another supplement that I haven't, well, it's not really a supplement, but it's a kind of sort of supplement food that I have been using and why I've been using it. And it has a lot to do with the environment. Anyway, thanks for watching, and take care until we talk again. Bye.